In an orphanage in California, there was a boy named Calvin, and Calvin had only one dream, which was to become a basketball player. But reality was very harsh because he was short and had no qualities that would make him a player. He was also bullied a lot by someone named Ox, who came and challenged him to a one-on-one basketball match to humiliate him and crush his spirit. Calvin agreed to the challenge, and the bet was Calvin's favorite t-shirt. When Calvin's friends tried to convince him he could not beat Ox, and to avoid embarrassing himself, Calvin refused to back down and insisted on continuing the challenge. But the difference in height and strength made him lose easily, and Ox was not just harsh with him, he also cut up his t-shirt right in front of his eyes to humiliate him further. But remind yourself not to forget to give us a like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Despite the pain Calvin was going through, he stayed strong and said that the family that adopts him one day will make up for all of this. Ox laughed at him and said no one will adopt you anytime soon. But Calvin replied, saying he is a special person and someone will take him one day. At that moment, he was looking at a happy family on television and said he wished a family like that would adopt him someday. Suddenly, the orphanage director named Stan came and bothered them all and turned off the television and told all the children to get ready quickly because they were going to sell candy outside Staples Center, which is where the Los Angeles Knights team plays. The children were not happy at all, but none of them could object. That same night, Calvin was trying to sell his share of candy, but no one was buying from him. In the end, he stood with Murph to watch the match from outside the stadium. His favorite player named Tracy was playing, but Tracy missed the last shot, and because of it, the team lost the game. Calvin was very upset and told Murph the team had been playing poorly lately. Murph told him they should focus on selling candy instead. But Calvin said who would buy after this loss? While they were looking for customers, Calvin spotted the team's coach named Wagner, who was coming out of the stadium, and ran to console him after the loss. They talked for a bit, and the coach was surprised that a small child like Calvin was standing alone at night. Calvin told him he was an orphan and was selling candy to collect money and give it to his orphanage. The coach offered to buy some from him, but Calvin refused to take his money and said honestly, he was not even sure the money went to the orphanage. Wagner was impressed by him and asked if he had ever watched a match from inside the stadium before. Calvin said no, so the coach offered him 2 tickets to the next game, and Calvin was overjoyed, thanked him, and ran to find Murph. The next day, many families came to the orphanage to adopt children, and Calvin was very optimistic and said he had a feeling today was his day. But Ox came back and bothered him and said these families only look for young children. When Calvin looked around, he discovered Ox was right, and he became very sad and began asking himself if a day would ever come when someone would truly adopt him. Afterward, he went and sat outside with his friends. At that moment, the kind staff member named Sister Treza brought a new donation box and started distributing things to the children. She gave Murph a winter jacket, but suddenly an old sports shoe fell out of the box. Calvin looked at it and picked it up quickly. When he asked Treza if she knew who it had belonged to, she told him she heard it used to belong to a famous basketball player. Calvin put the shoe on and was shocked that it fit him perfectly.